chuckle from our segment. Some of it is tongue-in-cheek, and I appreciate that you recognize that and not try and use, you acknowledge that it's a joke, whether it's funny or not. So as a comedian, the host of a comedy show, Rudy Giuliani was on this show, and
Who? What? Yes, Rudy Giuliani is a comedian and the host of a comedy show. Okay, sorry, that's 100% accurate.
First time the public ever saw Hunter Biden's
I gotta watch the insecure man versus insecure man to see whose insecurity will reign supreme.
Censored. Last week I criticised Elon Musk's decision to allow the massacre-denying conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to return to X, formerly Twitter. Some people weren't happy. They included the influential conservative personality Stephen.
Oh, thank you for correcting me. Insecure man versus insecure divorced man. Yes, correct. Correct. Have to be fair and or balanced and report accurately.
Crowder. This is what he had to say on his show, Louder with Crowder, about me.
This brings us to Piers Morgan's rules for me. He hosted Alex Jones on his very own program this year. Piers Morgan doesn't understand what freedom of speech is. Piers Morgan has also hosted.
That's the most abusive divorced man and terrible goatee ever. Well, let's say this, all right? There's good goatees. There's tasteful goatees. May I even suggest sexy goatees, for sure. That is none of the above. There's also evil goatees, right? I mean, look at Evil Abed and the rest of the community gang. When they all turned evil, they had to have evil goatees. So there can be evil goatees. And I would characterize Steven Crowder's goatee as most likely evil. Yes. Evil and divorced. Evil and divorced.
Suhail Shaheen, the Taliban spokesperson. Jeez. Wahid Asif Shaida, an Islamist extremist leader. Jeremy Corbyn, the anti-Semitic Labour Party leader. Just Piers, stop it. I'm sorry. Fraud. There we go.
What in the spirit?
Great setup. Let them fight. Let them fight. Yes. If you're like, oh, Lance, who do you want to see win? Me. I want to see me win in being entertained by watching two terrible people fight each other. Yes, absolutely.
Of hosting very controversial people on my free speech platform, I'm now joined by Stephen Crowder.
On my free speech
platform? Me a free speech hypocrite to my face. Mr. Crowder, good day to you. How are you?
Well, he shaved. I mean, he shaved a couple days ago. He's still looking mighty divorced.
Thank you, Piers. Merry Christmas. And let me say off the bat, I do actually appreciate about you. Your audience may not know how rare this is, that you do these interviews live. You don't chop them up. You actually have a discussion. And I've been advocating for that my whole life. So really, I appreciate it. Those are steps in the right direction.
Well, they are. And to be honest with you.
Oh, God. You're going to do the thing, aren't you? You're both going to start fucking circle jerking. That's what's about. We're about to a massive fucking right-wing circle jerk. Great. You set it up, you show the clip, you get me all excited. Now the whole thing's going to be like, well, you actually believe in free speech, which is good, yeah. I don't generally believe in free speech, so do you. Listen to us.
The debate about what constitutes free speech and whether there should be limits, and if there should be, what they are, I think is really interesting. And a lot of people have strong opinions about this. And I'm perfectly happy to be proven wrong, or to at least have a debate with someone who's got strong views that don't necessarily tally with mine. So I welcome you to the programme. Let's start with your assessment that I'm a free speech hypocrite. So articulate to me why you believe that.
I believe the word I used there was fraud.
You earlier used hypocrite.
Did I earlier? Okay, I don't remember saying it, but I'll take your word for it. And to some degree, I believe it. Look, I think that in hosting a show uncensored, and I can't see you, but I know you put up the very festive holly leaf on the globe there. It is incumbent upon you. You will say, I believe in the concept of free speech. Now, I'll be very clear in my definition of free speech. It's the constitutional definition of freedom of speech.
No, it's not. Okay, please define it. Define it, Stephen. Explain to me the Constitution of the United States. I'm excited.
All speech is permissible outside of a crime, and we have very clear
parameters. The First Amendment says it's that Congress, the government, shall pass no laws infringing on the speech or the freedom of assembly, the press, religion. That's what it's about. That your government can't silence you if you want to criticize your government, or protest your government, or hold a religion that is not directly the government itself.
Parameters, and these have been affirmed by the Supreme Court as to what
he is Canadian, yes.
That is. that's a proactive call for violence. The crime is not the speech. The crime is the action causing violence on purpose.
I know. We have a
Outside
lot
of
to
that,
answer for.
everything is permissible. But for a show uncensored, and I know that you said there's a difference between across the pond there, and obviously in the United States, we have a First Amendment that you don't. How would you define freedom of speech?
You fucking coward. Are you serious? This whole setup? Well, no wonder he doesn't want to debate Sam Seder. Look what the fuck happens. Well, I believe the word I used was hypocrite. Hypocrite. But how would you define it, Daddy?
Well,
What
I
is
don't think.
permissible?
See, I don't think we're as far apart as you think. I mean, you talk about the First Amendment not protecting, for example, crime. It's a little bit more complicated. For example, it doesn't protect you if you deliberately defame somebody. And my argument about Alex Jones in particular was that he's just been punished with over $1 billion fine in one of the biggest defamation cases in modern America.
In Canada, we have the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and they are a little bit more limited in terms of your free speech in regards to hate speech in the United States. The United States, I would say, you can get away with quite a bit more than you could in Canada. It depends. There was a recent ruling that is sending shockwaves down the right-wing spines of the right-wing media apparatus in Canada, where apparently falsely labeling marginalized communities as pedophiles or groomers with absolutely no evidence, or not stating that it's your own personal opinion, but simply saying it as a matter of fact, aka everything that James Lindsay does, or fucking you can look at any of them, Stephen Crowder, Tim Pool, all of them. Apparently, you're not protected in your speech there. That's not seen in the public interest. That's how it's usually defined legally. Is it in the public interest? And no, it's not in the public interest to allow people to not be able to be sued. For example, if you simply say this person is a pedophile. Oh, what? Are you saying that person raped kids? I mean, he's a groomer. So you're saying that they're trying to rape kids. They're trying to indoctrinate them into a sinful lifestyle. Oh, okay. Well, you said they were a kid rapist. So yeah, no, that's not protected speech. You can't just do that. You're not even saying like, this is my opinion that I believe without any evidence to the contrary that they happen to be a pedophile or groomer. That's not in the interest of, public speech.
American history activity. So I was joining all the dots there of his particular situation, and I can.
What is he doing? What is this tactic? I don't get it. Oh, saying things, pretend to be drunk. Pretend like you're drunk. Pretend like you're drunk. Just do it.
Concurred with Elon Musk's original view when he was asked about it when he first bought Twitter
still doing
last
it.
year, which was he was not going to allow him back on. He's now changed his mind, but my opinion was based on the Constitution of the United States not protecting you if you are guilty of defamation.
Well, okay, so I'm going to have to take the rounds out of that magazine from how loaded that question was and so much misinformation there. And that's the beauty of the freedom of speech. You can say that, you can speak misinformation, and you have the right to, for example, saying he knowingly lied. Look.
Okay, so I'm going to take the rounds out of your clip right now. It's coming. Just wait. Oh yeah. No, you are being disarmed, sir. Disarmed in real time. Yeah. No. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yep. It's coming shortly. Sure. I just want to say a few more things first. Get a couple more points out before I disarm you, sir, and completely dismantle everything you just said and why it's incorrect.
I'm not in the business of defending everything that Alex Jones has said, okay? But if you're going to say the 22 minutes out of 8,000 hours of broadcast time for which he apologized, acknowledged that he was wrong.
It wasn't just 22 minutes. My God. 22 minutes isn't as much as they showed in the courtrooms.
Constitutes what you are saying is proactively lying. That is a very dangerous
No, but he
precedent.
did.
And it's not accurate.
Hang on, Stephen.
It's not accurate.
Stephen, he did deliberately lie for a sustained period of time, for years, about these families. He knew.
Absolutely.
Tell me how he deliberately lied.
Not to mention, thanks to his own legal team being so goddamn inept that they ended up sending I still love this story so much. They ended up sending a fuck ton of evidence to the opposing legal team, who were then like, "Oh, you should probably disregard that." Are you ordering us not to be able to submit this into evidence, and we're going to wait the necessary amount of days to see whether or not you will file anything? You're not? Oh, 12. Oh my God. Oh my God. They just gave us everything. So in that, yeah, were apparently a lot of text messages that Alex Jones was sending where he's still trying to spread this shit, where he's not remorseful and like whatsoever. It's still like the thing with him, if there's nothing in place or no one to stop him, he will never stop. There's not ever going to be a day where Alex Jones comes forward and all of a sudden he's like, everybody, I was wrong. I am sorry. I deeply apologize for doing all the bad things I did. If he's not ordered to do so by a court, like that's, you're not going to get that. He just moves on to the next thing. Or if that happened, he lies that he's been nonstop apologizing to families and victims of you know, his many, many lies. And then he'll just come forward and be like, well, they're saying that I basically did Sandy Hook and that I basically did 9/11. I did Sandy Hook. I did 9/11. I created AIDS. I did it all. It's me. Yeah. No, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. It's like, no, you're deflecting from the actual responsibility that you do hold for the shit that you did, including the fact that your harassment, you can say, contributed towards one of those parents who should just been allowed to grieve unaliving themselves. That was Alex Jones.
He knew that.
Tell me how he deliberately
lied. And he was found to have deliberately lied.
Tell me how he deliberately lied.
And by the way, in his defense, he
Tell me how he deliberately lied, please.
In his defense, he tried to play the First Amendment card and it was rejected by the judge. Rejected.
Tell me how he deliberately lied, please.
Because he knew that it wasn't a hoax. He knew the massacre had happened.
Incorrect.
Listen to what he said.
That's incorrect.
What? Stephen, gonna want some counter evidence of any kind to be proposed here, other than just feelings. It feels like a lot of feelings, you know? No, you're lying. Alex wouldn't do that.
Let's play what he said.
He's a good man.
Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with
Anyone looks bad when you put the actual things that they say in front of you, but I contest with this. It's really cool that you care about free speech. And the fact that you call us uncensored, good for you. Good for you.
actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake.
Steven. That last one. I mean, wow. Yeah, gotta give it to the you know, the workers at the Piers Morgan show who are compiling clips and getting them ready for you here, because like it took me more than a year to realize the whole thing was fake. How could he have known by that point? How could any of us? Truly. Yeah. The whole idea of these children being crisis actors and not actually having died, that there wasn't actually a school shooting, that the entire thing was a false flag, that no children were murdered whatsoever. In fact, they're all happy getting other acting gig jobs that are hard to find. But yeah, that's what's happening here, right?
Whole thing was fake, repeatedly. A series of different shows he did.
You still haven't answered. You still haven't answered. That doesn't prove that he knowingly lied anything.
but
Look,
you-
Alex Jones is wrong
Stephen,
about a lot.
you're a very
Alex
smart-
Jones is wrong about a lot.
Stephen, you and I disagree.
But he's also he
Stephen,
100%
you and I disagree. Hang on.
believed it, and
I'm
then
going to
admitted that he
respond
was
to
wrong.
you. You and I disagree about many things. We agree about many too, right? But
appreciate
on this point, you're.
This is embarrassing for both of you. Piers, you have so many easy wins here. Like, come on. Like, Steven Crowder has been floundering since the moment you did like a slight pushback. Just like, yeah, I don't fully agree with everything that Alex Jones has said. You just played the clip of him saying, like, it took me over a year to realize that the whole thing was fake. I mean, at that point, his whole defense here is like, well, how could he have known? Are you serious? A year after Sandy Hook? How could you have known what had actually taken place there?
You're a very smart guy. I wouldn't question that for a moment.
Again, Piers, how are you fumbling the bag?
You and I both know Alex Jones knew that that was not faked Sandy Hook. You and I both know that.
Again, like that's the only response. Like, yeah, and I understand why Cold Feet Crowder has been running from Sam Seder for years. Well, I mean, what's he gonna do? He's just gonna do this. If you want a preview, I mean, hold on, let's get a sexy picture. Sam, okay, hold on. Sam Seder sexy. All right, there we go. Got a sexy picture of Sam Seder. Really high or something. That's why he sounds the way he does.
Sandy Hook. You and I both know that.
So I have to spit the words out that you just tried to place in my mouth. I do not.
That's what it would look like if it actually went through. I'll slow it down just for posterity.
I both know Alex Jones knew that that was not faked Sandy Hook. You and I both know that.
So I have to spit the words out that you just tried to play.
AI is crazy, eh? It's nuts. Like it's nearly impossible to tell now. It's dangerous. It's going to scary places.
Even if no, it didn't, and even
It did.
assuming
It
that
found
you
him
don't
guilty
discuss
of
the
defamation.
Holy fuck, he's so bad at this. He's so goddamn bad at this. His response to everything has been like, no, it didn't. No, that never happened. That's not true. Here's a clip of it. Yeah, no, you're lying. Yeah, no.
with your audience, and I'm going to continue speaking as though we're having a dialogue, even assuming that you don't discuss the caps that he would never pay out, the far lower settlement that they have decided they would allow, considering this will go to a superior court and will get thrown out, even if you allow all of those things. Here's the beauty of the First Amendment. Here's the beauty of the First Amendment. Even if you at one point commit defamation, you still don't forfeit your right to speak going forward.
You don't.
You have not disproven a single thing that he said so far. You just keep saying, no, that's not true. And then you just immediately pivot to something completely unrelated. And that's why the First Amendment reigns supreme Taco Bell dream.
Fundamental human right.
I agree.
And that's not why he was banned from. That's not why he was banned from Twitter.
I know
that.
He was banned from Twitter. He was banned.
He never said that.
For Twitter for having a pop at some guy from CNN. I don't care about that. I'm more interested in why Elon Musk tweeted when he bought Twitter and was asked, will you bring back Alex Jones? He said, no, I won't allow somebody back on, having gone through the pain himself of a child dying in his own arms, one of his children. He wasn't going to allow someone who profited from the pain of dead children to be back on the platform. He then changed his mind, which he's allowed to do. He owns the platform. X is a private company owned by Elon Musk. He can do what he likes with it. But they also have a series of rules which are available on their website, which you can check about what is allowed and not allowed. And they will deplatform you if you transgress those rules. And my point to you is that the situation with Alex Jones is that he was found guilty in an American court of defamation. And yes, it's entirely down to Elon Musk that he can bring him back. But I agree with the first version of Elon Musk's decision-making, not the second one based on a completely undemocratic poll he put on his own Twitter feed. I'm sure you did. You basically said, I don't know much about the US Constitution because I'm not American. And that's fine. But I have lived and worked in America for 20 years. I have tried to really get a handle on the US Constitution. And on the issue of the First Amendment, it is a complicated thing. It's not as simple as saying you can say...
Okay, these call-outs are pretty funny. I am here for this. I am quite enjoying him having to sit there and having a Brit explain to a Canadian, you don't know jack shit about the US Constitution. Fucking Canadian.
Whatever you want. Well, it is, because it doesn't allow the unfettered free speech, but with protection. You suggesting
it isn't complicated when you don't understand jack shit about it, and you're just like, oh, well, the First Amendment protects me.
It absolutely does.
It doesn't.
It absolutely does, barring, would you like me to explain, barring what I've already outlined? Actual criminal behavior calling for violence against other people. For example, Piers, look,
but
you know that
defamation.
you have been, and I'm saying this in your defense. For example, you made your joke about being a two-spirited penguin, right? I thought it was cute. I think it was funny, and I understand the point that you were...
Again, not addressing anything he's saying. You not at one point have been like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to take what you just said and now refute it and actually provide something to refute it with outside of like, that never happened. Yes, it did. No, it didn't. Well, here's the video of it happening. You're putting words in my mouth.
We're trying to make, okay? You have had people accuse you of creating violence against trans. You know that, and we know it's absurd. So who defines what is actually calling for violence, or if you
but here's
basically in a roundabout way maybe causing violence? No, unless you called for violence.
No, but you keep
I love that he went to the trans card. Typical Crowder, eh? Just like fucking flailing wildly, and then all of a sudden it's just like, well, Piers, you also were transphobic. Your speech was protected. It's the same thing.
You said you were a two-spirited
But you
penguin.
keep saying that your only barrier on free speech
Just repeated it. You said it. You did a transphobic joke. Like the rest of us. You're one of us.
is crime.
Yes.
And I keep reminding you that Alex Jones was found guilty of defamation, and that is one of the things that's not protected by the First Amendment.
No, it's not protected in a you can have civil damages, and your First Amendment rights don't cease to exist. In other words, you can pay. You can pay the piper for what you have done in
You're
that
still being
individual
held
instance.
accountable
So if someone
for your
at some
defamation.
point, if someone accuses you of defamation, and let's say has a suit levied against you that actually, by God, is successful, let's say that, does that forbid you from speaking publicly thereafter?
No,
No,
of
you
course
don't.
No one said it did. What are you saying right now?
Lose
no,
it.
but
It's a fundamental human right.
Not at all. But it does allow, I'm exercising my rights to free speech to say I think he shouldn't be allowed back on X, which was the position of the owner of X until last week. So my point is that Elon Musk has made...
Yeah, I know. What's been happening at X lately that would make him be like, oh, what's one final Hail Mary that we could do?
two judgment calls about this. One I agreed with and one I didn't. And I'm exercising my free speech rights to say I don't agree with it.
You are. And I completely support your right to that. The problem is Elon Musk changed his mind in the face of new information. And if we want to have
Yeah, the new information being that like almost every single major fucking advertiser's gone now, so not much left to do, but just basically go the InfoWars route. You know, it is one of the last common denominators. After that, I mean, it's pretty much going to be what the Groypers, Cozy TV or whatever, Nick Fuentes neo-Nazi network. He's gonna be like, well, you know, we love free speech around these parts, so let's also give all the Nazis a show exclusive on X. You know, you thought Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones were the only exclusive X shows.
productive dialogues, we need to, you know what, this is one thing I often ask. And by the way, I think that none of this is a gotcha for Twitter clicks. I hope to God it's not. How often when you were on CNN, or how often when you were on your morning show there in the
You're such a testicle. You are shrinking in real time. Every time it's just like, hey, I'm kind of mad. Gonna go for a dunk here. And before I do this, I hope to God everyone realizes, you know, this isn't for Twitter points. I respect you. You know, uncensored. You have free speech. You know, you're good man, strong man, good posture.
UK. Or how often do you see on any news network someone say, you know what, new information came out and I was wrong. And I say that because you've done it, and I appreciate it. You said, you know what, if I knew what I know.
You just did it again. You can't even go for a snipe. Like, holy fuck. Won't go for a headshot. Just consistently like,
Oh, now about the COVID vaccine, specifically that if you get the COVID vaccine, you cannot transmit it.
Yeah.
If I knew that that was incorrect, I wouldn't have espoused the views that I did.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think the problem that we have in today's society is not wanting to allow people to be wrong, to make mistakes. In the realm of comedy, look, good jokes and bad jokes.
It has nothing to do with comedy. Jesus Christ, we're so far off topic. So Alex Jones had continued to
Clean up your
propagate
room.
a lie that was getting a lot of his supporters. And then there was multiple instances of him both being explained to, bringing on conspiracy theorists who were spreading that lie after learning they were conspiracy theorists. And some of those conspiracy theorists had ties to neo-Nazis and white nationalist movements, still continuing to do so, just fucking thing after thing. Alex Jones continuously propagating all of these lies after there was overwhelming evidence that this was not a false flag attack, that these children were real and dead. He continued to do so over and over until his fans continued to harass them to such a point that one of them unalived themselves. Like, it's one of the most horrifying fucking things a human being / ghoul who doesn't know jack shit about anything, who's now constantly being like rebranded, like, oh, Alex Jones predicted. No, he didn't predict shit. The guy doesn't know fuck all. Like, now we're supposed to just take the whole thing and be like, oh yeah, well, he got new information. He apologized. Now we all forgive him. Alex Jones is always right.
You can have a direct challenge to Alex Jones, like I did when he came on my
Of course
show.
I can.
Look, like you picked out, for example,
What are you talking about? Why is he getting so whiny? What are you talking about? No, it's you can reply.
that he came on my show, Jeremy Corbyn, Taliban spokesman, and so on. Yes, because in each of those cases, I put them through the mincer, right? And I'm prepared to have them on to give them a hard time and challenge them. You might be.
He's so shit. Petty. What a fucking little baby. Debatable. But I love you. I love the work you do. But you suck cock. But I love you. I was certainly giving it to this person. He's not a nice guy. You know, you didn't condemn him much.
Oh, you answer my question. Now, the point of playing that clip, other than to entertain you, as I'm sure it did, is that, yes...
I hate that clip. I hate everything about that clip.
Why do you hate it?
I hate it because I don't like Jeremy Corbyn, but I think he's a bombastic prick, but I also think that you should have let him finish speaking. Why? Because then he would express bad ideas. Yeah, that's why I support freedom of speech.
But actually, in the end, I could tell very quickly he was never going to give an answer, and therefore...
That like little back and forth, that encapsulates what I was talking about. This is like really sad on both their parts. Again, Piers, you could have had so many easy dunks and wins, but for some reason, on some level, I don't know if it's like the transphobic alliance. Yes, when our rings connect. I don't know what kind of docking's going on, but like at that moment, you're all like buddy buddies, right? It's just like, oh, come on, you know, I love your show. You usually have good ideas. Don't agree with everything you say. Well, I love your show. You usually have good ideas. I don't agree with everything you say. Well, okay, good. We mutually love each other then.
We were in a game of cat and mouse, which went on so long that the viewer was left in no uncertain terms what his answer actually was. Because otherwise you just say Hamas are a terror group. It's not difficult. And in fact, 2 days later, he admitted Hamas are a terror group.
Stunning.
That was his position.
Yes.
But
I broke Jeremy Corbyn. No one had ever done it before. Yes, you only wish, Stephen.
Only after
look
I
upon my work,
you
mighty
so look, here's my question for you.
So that's it. So you want to shame people into agreeing with you?
No,
I would rather just let them speak
all.
if they have bad
not
ideas.
Not at all.
Oh my God, you let fucking Steven Crowder get a point. He just got a point. That was a connected hit. He maybe didn't sink a battleship, but he certainly got one piece of it. Pierce, what the fuck?
I want to shame them into giving an honest opinion. What I will really lose my rag about, and I'm sure you must be the same, when people just obfuscate and don't give a straight answer to a straight, simple question.
Oh, you mean like this entire fucking debate that you've had with Steven, where he just refuses to answer anything you say and then just goes on tangents? Yeah, but that's why comedy is protected by the First Amendment.
Then I will go after them. If they give an honest answer, even if I don't agree with it, I respect that. And in fact, I think people who watch my show regularly will see that is my position, whether I agree with them or not. I have lots of people on that I don't really agree with. But I find the ones that I have respect for are the ones who give a straight answer to a straight question. So let me ask you a straight question.
So you must not respect Steven, or you don't give two fucks about anything you just said?
Ask you a straight question.
Sure.
David Duke, the former KKK leader, he's banned from Twitter. Elon Musk hasn't brought him back. Right. Should he be allowed to be back on?
Wow, it really gets a lot of squirminess. It goes all squirmy when you start mentioning fucking white supremacists, KKK, Klansmen, shit like that. Oh God, no, fucking hell! Here we go. Oh yeah, everyone's a white supremacist, Piers. Fucking back off.
On X.
Throw that at me. Really? You just say, I want to ask someone a straight question. You have me here.
You can't answer it. Let me ask you a straight question. Is that what you're gonna do? Ask me a straight question? Actually, that's it? You're gonna ask me a straight... Can you answer the question? Oh, can I answer the question? I'm
basically
nice try.
A specter. I don't appear on any... You want to ask me about David Duke?
Yes. Because he's banned from Twitter.
Should David Duke be allowed back on X?
Yes.
I'm not as familiar with David Duke as I am with Alex, which is why I was able to point out that you cannot prove that he knowingly lied about.
But again, simple question. So what if I told you that he was the head of the current incarnation of the KKK, the Ku Klux Klansmen, an incredibly white supremacist, racist, and violent extremist group in the United States? Now you know who he is.
Anything. No. If David Duke has called for the violence, look, if David Duke has called for the violence, actions of violence against minority groups, then no. If David Duke has...
You know what I always find is that when people are going to be, you know, antagonistic or, you know, go after minority groups, they oftentimes don't seem to have any fucking clue who you're talking about when you mention very popular public figures in those arenas. If you're suddenly like, well, yes, so I don't know if you're familiar with Nick Fuentes. I don't really know who that is. Not familiar with him that much. Don't know. It's just not my scene. Don't know anything about him really.
In condemning some groups.
Right.
I think it's pretty clear when you look at comments like, can you condemn David Duke? And there's a hesitation, and a week or two later, he responds with, yes, I condemn it.
So you think he hasn't been as clear?
Talked about it there. Apparently it appears again.
David Duke and robocalls are out again. The white
So you're watching news clips talking about David Duke and that historical moment where, you know, Donald Trump didn't condemn him. I think it's safe to say that Steven Crowder knows exactly who David Duke is. You want further evidence? Did you see how he reacted as soon as David Duke's name was mentioned by Piers? All of a sudden he's like, here we go.
supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow. David Duke endorsed me. Okay.
David Duke.
I disavow. Okay.
When we looked at
I
it and looked
disavow.
at the question,
Okay.
I disavow David
David Duke.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris,
Tell me when you want me to stop. This goes on for about
Okay, all right. So Steven Crowder lied.
speak and who cannot. And we've seen some very clear examples of this. If you give me 30 seconds,
Yeah.
let me lay this out for you.
course.
For example, I don't think they have the right to, for example, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Here's why. They benefit from Section 230. Now, I know you have a lot of fans in UK. They may not be familiar with this. Let me explain what it means. They're basically treated like public utilities, meaning that they have immunity from liability for someone saying something on their platform. For example, AT&T here in the States can't ban you from their phone service because your racist Aunt Tilly drops an N-bomb after a few drinks at Thanksgiving. They're a public utility. These big
In principle, Section 230, obviously, indemnifying a company for the content that the people who operate within the company produce as the content generally, it's done in good faith. If you look at the wording of Section 230, it says that, yes, you will not be held directly responsible if you act in good faith to remove content that is that is illegal, content that, you know, falls under the provisions of ideally you have a terms of service that you're working around, and those are your guidelines. It's supposed to be that YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all these companies, what they're supposed to be doing is effectively abiding by their terms of service, giving very clear guidelines to everybody. If you break these guidelines, you unfortunately will either be suspended or get a strike on your channel or something like that, because we want to avoid things like, you know, hate speech. We want to avoid things like the targeting of marginalized community members and stuff like this. The problem being that everyone has seen so many instances where, you know, a triple S sniper wolf or another content creator does something really fucked up and they get a slap on the wrist, because at the end of the day, they usually benefit the biggest creators and they get the most leeway. I mean, look no further than this dude. This dude has been pushing the boundaries of the TOS for a really fucking long time and getting away with it. Now, he's been part of a couple adpocalypses here and there, and every now and then he's like, yeah, let's do another sketch that clearly is against and in violation of all their terms of service, and to see how far we can get away with it.
It would have, according to Dr. Epstein. Do you realize? Now, I'm a comedian, right? This show, that's why I appreciate you said, hey, you got to.
Oh, I know Hunter didn't sway the election. Like, if that's the level of political discourse that Piers Morgan is willing to fucking engage in, like, that's so sad to tell. Like, if you are someone who's analyzing politics for a living, or you're just following that kind of shit, like, it doesn't take, like, you know, the most astute of political satirists to truly appreciate, like, the people who are enraged about the Hunter Biden stories, who actually feel like it's something in which they have been done an injustice, are the right, are Republicans. This is a right-wing thing. Yes, it's going to continue to fuel right-wing discourse and make them mad, but Democrats are not moving to the polls for that one. It's not like, oh, so in this one instance, it looks like Hunter Biden may be very severely addicted to drugs and also hiring sex workers constantly. And it's like, oh, what does Joe say about that? He's actually kind of being like a half-decent dad about it and being like, I still love my son and stuff. Oh, well, okay, wait, there's more. It would be revealed that he, in fact, bought a truck because he had no credit score because of, again, the drugs and everything. And so then Joe Biden was like, I'll buy you a truck, son. And he bought him a truck. Yeah. So, yeah, impeachment, right? This is an impeachable offense.
Chuckle from our segment. Some of it is tongue in cheek, and I appreciate that you recognize that and not try and use, you acknowledge that it's a joke, whether it's funny or not. So as a comedian, the host of a comedy show, Rudy Giuliani was on this show, and
Who? What? Yes, Rudy Giuliani is a comedian and the host of a comedy show. Okay, sorry, that's 100% accurate.
first time the public ever saw Hunter Biden's laptop was on this show. He brought it up. He goes, I have the laptop here. The FBI came, they searched my offices.
Who the fuck is that? Also, how's Rudy doing? How's that working out for Rudy?
They took everything but the laptop. I go, wait. Is that the Hunter Biden laptop? He said yes. Episode is banned. Suspended from YouTube. Think about that. Think about how terrifying that is. It was an accident.
It's wrong. It's wrong. Let me ask you though, yesterday on your show, you appeared wearing a t-shirt saying Alex Jones was right, changed my mind. So my question is, what was he right about?
Oh gosh, how much time do you have?
Well, are you talking about Sandy Hook?
No, I'm not talking about Sandy Hook. He said he was wrong about Sandy Hook.
Right.
Oh, so he
He apologized for Sandy Hook.
When he was sued, he said he was wrong.
Eventually, but I'm saying obviously the shirt wouldn't be addressing that. If it's he says I was wrong, it would be awfully daft.
But what are you alluding to then?
I'm alluding to, for crying out loud, if you talk about intelligence agencies spying on Americans, if you talk about what
That's what? So Alex Jones didn't predict that. He doesn't even accurately cover it. Yeah, he doesn't fully understand the scope and magnitude of it sometimes. He likes to say a lot of like really scary sounding things though, you know? Well, yes, obviously the globalists and the elites are spying on us, and that's why they're using, U.S. Funded satellites as part of the communists with Xi Jinping, who's actually working in tandem with the woke trans agenda, and of course the lizard people in order, like... That's the same as saying that there are different government. Like what about talking about things like the Patriot Act and how there had been an overreach of government intrusion into the personal and private lives of people, or how private companies, usually a lot of these tech companies, you're supposed to be hating, how they actually sell vast amounts of data to other private companies who want to buy that data, and how that data can be utilized and manipulated in order to sway public opinion, say in the case of Steve Bannon, and how his own organization was utilizing it to have some success in the first Brexit and then Trump. Anything about that, or is it just going to be like, oh, well, Alex Jones said government institutions spy on people?
we've done with South American countries as allowing the spread of STDs, for which Hillary Clinton apologized for.
So when you said the what we've done in South American countries, it was like, again, if you're talking about the CIA and what they do in terms of coups and propping up dictators or doing overthrows of government, yes, again, all very well documented. Nothing that Alex Jones predicted, and again, barely is able to talk about. But Crowder just goes right to spreading AIDS, because we intentionally that was the CIA who did that as a weaponized. What?
If you talk about nation building, where there have been underhanded deals with nations who don't have our best interests at heart, I mean, it's, take your pick. I don't believe that, for example,
you haven't said a single specific thing. You just mentioned things, half of which are just available. That anyone who wants to read a book, use Google, search a thing, go on Wikipedia, like any single person.
George W. Bush was next to the Twin Towers with an Acme.
Crowder got in trouble for whipping his dick out at the office, didn't he? He did indeed. Well, not just whipping his dick out. Apparently he put his balls on one of his employees. The same employee that he was dressing in drag with publicly and then making out with.
Plunger.
Oh, I should also add that employee was stroking his penis above the pants in that same video clip that children are looking at. Yes. What they call
I'm
grooming
not
and
that kind of a
pedophilic
conspiracy
behavior.
theorist, but when Alex
In
Jones
his
said,
corner of
look,
the internet.
you are going to be corralled into social media ghettos and lose your right to speak, he was right. He's right about a lot. And I will say this, he's been wrong
He's rarely right about anything. Alex Jones is almost always wrong.
about plenty. I am not here to defend everything that Alex Jones has ever said.
Steven's brain is a black hole. DJ Danarchy. Wait, are you the DJ Danarchy? Like the one who does all the music for all the best shows on the internet? If so, you're fucking awesome. I love your beats.
Willing to defend everything that I have said on my program. But that man is exactly who you would expect him to be. He's a friend of mine. And when everyone else...
Yes, based. I can't give you VIP in YouTube, but I'll give you a mod hammer. Use it wisely, Danarchist. Hold on, edit moderators, and boom.
Tuck tail, and they...
everyone go check out Danarchist, aka DJ Anarchy's channel. That's where you'll find so many great, amazing theme songs, from Majority Report to the Michael Brooks Show to Knowledge Fight. He does it all.
ran. I'm not going to do that. I'll tell him he's wrong. I'll tell you where I think he's wrong. But that man has a right to speak, just like I believe you have the right to speak. And Piers, if you think they're not going to come for you...
Again, just empty platitudes, slogans, just one after the other. Didn't have a single point this entire episode. In fact, like, clearly doesn't know half the shit he's talking about. You can tell why Steven Crowder is Cold Feet Crowder and why he's like terrified of fucking Sam Seder. And also deeply embarrassing for you, Piers. In what universe or world do you have this much respect for this clown man, this hateful bigot? Why in the world do you hold him to any kind of self-esteem? Why you're like, I don't agree with anything you say, but from time to time, you know, Stephen, we do talk of free speech. It's our favorite word. It's like, yeah, at least Piers has a better understanding of what the First Amendment to the Constitution is, whereas Stephen Crowder, oof, yeah. Big old L, Canada. Why do you keep doing this, Canada? It fucking sucks. So sad. Ah.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian DeMel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also, thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.